Hello. Hello. Just waiting for the system to start up. Okay. Looks like we're all go. Hello once again, and it's just give me a second. It's me again, and we're going through the reading again that we did last night. It was really good, and tonight we've got another exciting reading from Pastor Mark Finlay, who wrote this book that I'm reading, which is a daily devotional called Solid Ground, and I've been really enjoying reading it and sharing it with you. Just give me a second. You hear that a lot. You hear that a lot. I wanted to tell you something. I wanted to tell you that I'm here in Melbourne, and here in Melbourne it is freezing cold. It is really cold. I'll bring my mic over. It's really, really cold. I think it was 2 degrees the night before. It's still cold. We've got the heater going, but and it's miserable in the middle of winter, and so I'm not sure what the temperature is because my phone's not here, but yeah, just to let you know, it's freezing in Melbourne. So today we're going to, if you watch this, I hope you get something out of it. Let's start with a prayer for our reading tonight. Dear Heavenly Father, I just wanted to thank you again that I can come and read this book, and it's been a great day. Done half the dishes, and you know, it's just good to be able to share something that you love, and I just pray that you'll bless this reading. Okay, so today's reading is for July the 12th, and it's Pastor Mark Finlay has entitled it Conquer Your Mountain. So can you see that there? I'll just put that there so you can read along, because I'm not the best reader in the world, but we'll give it a go anyway. So it is July the 12th, and conquer your mountain. I wonder what he means by that. Now therefore give me this mountain of which the Lord spoke in that day, by Joshua 14:12. Todd Houston is a remarkable young man. Todd set the world record for climbing the highest peak in all 50 of the United States. The previous record was 110 days. Todd shattered that record single-handedly by completing his 50 climbs in 66 days, 22 hours and 47 minutes. His toughest climb was Mount McKinley in Alaska. Mount McKinley rises out of the Alaskan range to a majestic elevation of more than 20,000 feet, the highest point in North America. Its jagged peak lies just 3.5 degrees south of the Arctic Circle. The mountain is perpetually covered in a shroud of snow and ice. Climbers who have attempted the ascent know that the mountain's moods are capricious and unforgiving. Oh dear me. Okay. One of Todd's biggest tests came when he met a group of climbers on their way down from Mount McKinley. "What's it like up there today?" Todd asked. One of the men shook his head. "Bad storms and high winds. We were locked in at Denali Pass for 3 days. Todd Houston had to make a choice. Was he going to try it? Was he going to take on this tremendous obstacle with only one leg? You see, Todd had lost his leg in a water skiing accident when he was only 14 years old. Todd's faith and courage led him on. Some time ago, I interviewed Todd on It Is Written's television. I asked him how he was able to climb the mountains he climbed, not just physical ones, but mountains of discouragement and delusionment as well. Todd's answer was right to the point. If you're going to look at your affliction or your injury and focus on that, you are going to live around it, he said. But if you focus on the Lord, He is just going to get you through it. At 85 years of age, Caleb refused to give in to the doubters around him. He urged the Israelites to take the promised land. Now therefore, give me this mountain, he cried out. Bring on the giants, show me the walled cities. The Lord and I will conquer them. Wow, he had faith. Ellen White wrote, the unbelieving had seen their fears fulfilled. Notwithstanding God's promise, they had declared it was impossible to inherit Canaan, and they did not possess it. But those who trusted in God, looking not so much to the difficulties to be encountered as to the strength of their almighty helper, encountered the goodly land. And that's from Patriarchs and Prophets 5:1-3. With God you can conquer mountains. With God you can conquer the mountains before you. With Caleb and Joshua, cry out today, "Oh God, give me this mountain," and move on in faith. That was a very good read today. And to think that man climbed those mountains with just one leg. I think Pastor Mark really brought out an important point that if we do, focus on our afflictions and our injuries, that you're going to live around it. I don't know, he said, I'll show you, I can't highlight it, but he said if you are going to look at your affliction or your injury and focus on that, you are going to live around it, he said. But if you focus on the Lord, He is just going to get you through it. Well, that sounds great. That's great words of encouragement. Last night we... Oh, wow. The book. Last night we said a prayer request, and I think tonight I might need a bit of a prayer request. Life as a survivor of childhood abuse and sexual assault is difficult. Really difficult, and I find that the messages that children get from the abuse that they experience lives with them for their lives, for the rest of their lives, until they can come to some understanding that those messages weren't exactly correct, weren't true, and didn't come from a reliable source. So, I'm just going through that today. It's just like, where did these messages come from? Who said it? And, really looking at the situation, which for me was as a child,
was quite overwhelming, and like depending on what form of abuse it was that I was exposed to, the abuse itself was so overwhelming that I couldn't really comprehend what was happening in that moment. And I was a child, so I really did not have the ability to understand what I was going through those days. And I think now as an adult, and I look back on these overwhelming experiences, you know, I deal with on a daily basis, and in my relationships with people, I fear being rejected and I fear not fitting in. And this came from, as a child, constantly being rejected and abused or abandoned in some ways. And, you know, these things do happen to us, but I think when you look at it as an adult, you know, now I do have the ability to say, this is the situation. That person was potentially going, you know, had problems, and their abuse has impacted me, but now the fear of what happened, or the impact of what has happened, is still affecting me today. And so I was just thinking today, and just going through those experiences and really looking at it from now an adult's point of view, a safe point of view, and really making an assessment for myself of what happened, and how I was impacted by that experience and that person, and how it affects me today. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, but I don't know. It gives me a little bit of understanding into the life that I live, and a lot of my life, I have to admit, is actually driven by reactions to certain triggers. There's no thinking about it. I don't even know sometimes that it's happened. I just have this uncomfortable experience, and I resort to whatever behavior I have used for many years to feel safe. Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. And like the story was saying, is if we can come to God and we can put our trust in Him and take these burdens that we carry, that are sometimes too big for us to even understand or even know how to fix, we can take them to God, and like Mark said, He will promise, He didn't promise, God promised that He will get us through these things and help us. So wherever you are, I pray that God is with you. I'm hoping in a few days to be able to see what's happening in the live stream, so I can't really interact at this stage, but we're getting there slowly but surely. God bless you, and good night.